We're going to talk about creating tension in a scene, how to build it up with shots that slowly reveal the who, the what, and the where, and maybe even the why. Why not throw in some zombies and parkour for good measure? So talk with our buddy Marco Aguilar about his zombie parkour project. Is that my skillet?
Yeah.
When are we going to return that, man? You had that for like months.
I'm bringing it back now. Here it is. Just skillet.
Why are you holding it like that?
I don't know. It feels good in the hand, though.
You took care of it, right?
Oh, I took great care of it. I washed it. You know, soap and water. There was some brown stuff on it, too, so I took some Brillo, scraped it off. No, it's gone. It's clean.
You scrubbed off that patina that's been there for years?
But it's clean.
My grandfather gave me that skillet. Why did you even borrow it? God, I swear it looks like you're going to hit somebody with that thing. Welcome to Pull My Focus, Ventures in the World of Digital Filmmaking, where we give you the inside tips you need to make great video. If a horror movie relies on shock versus suspense, then every time a cat jumps out of the bushes to shock you, you're now dealing with the law of diminishing returns. You need to create more shock to keep the audience going, and each time you've got to outdo the shock of the last one. In an action movie, it's the same, tension versus awe. A chaotic fight scene with multiple camera angles, gunshots and explosions. Lots of awe, not necessarily a lot of tension. But through the use of certain shots and editing, you can set up the geography of a shot, the who, what, and where, creating an atmosphere of tension that lasts and lingers. An expert in the field of building tension and suspense was Alfred Hitchcock, and one of his favorite scenes of mine was the crop dusting plane scene from North by Northwest. Hitchcock sets up the geography of a meeting place for Cary Grant and a mysterious person by using a very high static crane shot. Grant gets off the bus. He's a vulnerable dot in a huge open plane. It's agoraphobia on steroids. He waits for the man to arrive. A crop dusting plane flies along the horizon. Cars appear down the road and they drive by in a cloud of dust. We see a cornfield across the field. A car pulls out from behind it and deposits a man on the road. Is that him? Grant, unsure, sheepishly crosses the road. It's not him, but the man gives some interesting insight.
That plane's dusting crops where there ain't no crops.
Now the plane is close enough we can hear it. And then so to help us talk about creating tension in a scene, we have a guest, a director buddy of ours, Marco Antonio Aguilar. He wrote and directed a short that went crazy viral a couple of years ago that combines zombies and parkour. Two good things that go together. They're currently in the middle of their Indiegogo campaign for the feature version of the short. And Marco stopped by to talk with us about this awesome previs test scene that they shot that's a great example of creating and building tension. All right, so we're here with my buddy Marco
Aguilar. This is a previs of a scene that takes place in the film that I've written. And it's supposed to be in an arena with, two combatants battling out. And in the film there'll be like tons and tons of zombies, but we did what we could with the amount of zombies we had available to us in this scene. Thunderdome meets American Ninja Warrior meets The Walking Dead, essentially. That's pretty much how it is.
Let's roll the previs. If you go to the zombie parkour site, and we'll have links for that, you can watch the whole thing. But it's pretty riveting. And don't tell me, but I don't know who to root for. Like, who's the good guy? I don't know. I don't know which one of them I want to win. But so one of the things I really like about it is it's bare bones, just two guys, and you have a few actors playing the zombies. There's no like beautiful lighting. There's no crowd, there's no cutting to them. There's none of that other stuff, yet the tension is still there. And part of it is what we talked about a little bit is this style of directing and shooting and shots that are about setting up the geography of a situation and tension. So talk a little bit about how you set the opening of it up.
Yeah, and it's all set up too. You want to set up all the little bits and pieces are there to set up the tension and get everybody ready to go. I wanted to establish that there were multiple zombies attacking them, and that it wasn't just like Andrew being attacked. And I wanted to show I wanted to show it in the two shot with that one tracking shot with him in the background, because I think that it adds certain layers to a fight when you and it gives another sense of the geography. You see where they are in relation to each other. So when you cut to another shot, you can you get a sense of how far he has to go to get to him. And that's the thing with having a bigger space. You really have to like you're gonna have so much in the background that you need to have stuff happening in the background. And so you're sort of almost forced to do that. Every shot, there's all this stuff in the background. You've got to be able to like show something happening there. You can't just have him standing there.
At a certain point, Andrew gets the crowbar, and I like that part where he gets it. Now he comes at Paul. But Paul kicks him back, camera pans left with him and into a zombie. How are you thinking ahead of time of shots like that will help build tension?
In a multi-combatant fight, it all comes down to geography, because once I know that, all right, he's kicked the zombie up this way and this other zombie's over this way, then I say, all right, I want him to be attacked again by this zombie. So what actions have to happen in this space to give him enough time to believably get to Andrew. And then I wanted the reveal to be that way because that's like, you know, again, it's organized chaos. It's like, you know, if you go with the pan and you see him just come out of nowhere and grab him, it's not really out of nowhere. You get a sense of where he was, but it's still a surprise because he wasn't in the shot at the moment and you didn't realize how quickly he got up. You can never lose track of where everyone is, and you have to realistically think about what they would be doing while this is happening over here. And it does come from a theater background because in theater you just have the stage, so everything's got to be in sync. And I used to be part of a stage combat crew, and we would like meet up every week, and we would shoot it, but we would shoot it just like one take, you know, and like we all had to hit our marks.
Right.
So I think it makes much more dynamic fight, and I think that training definitely helped me in that regards. You always have to think about where they are off stage, quote unquote, you know, and then you can how to utilize. That's how you can utilize your surprises efficiently. You know, it's silly when it just comes out of nowhere. Like, all right, where was this guy? You know what I mean? But when you get a sense of like, oh yeah, he was over there, and you might even be thinking about it, like, oh man, what you know, he's gonna come back and get him or something. So like, yeah, it starts with just remembering where everybody is in relation to each other. And if this person's knocked out, or if this person's whatever, or this person's tangled up, that leads you to create certain situations. Like, all right, how do I keep this person out of the way while this is happening? You know, so you come up with another thing there, and it just builds and builds to this large fight. I mean, you just in the first rehearsal, it was like ridiculous. Like, because I kept pointing at somebody, wait, what's he doing over there? Wait, this person's back here, and they were just like, oh man, we got to like really build this little bit by bit. Yeah.
So your fight choreographers came to show you what they worked on, and then as they did it, you had feedback.
No, I showed up and I had the script and I had the shot list and I had everything, you know, and I said, yeah, this is what we're gonna do, and they just went through it. And then we tried it, and then he would like say, "Oh no, you need to shoot it this way, or this is how we do it, or you know this and that." We just kept building it until after that first rehearsal, we had like, all right, this is how it's gonna flow. Now we have to get like the details right.
So there's like old school, you know, we're talking about Hitchcock, right? North by Northwest, that scene. This old school sort of let the camera hang, let actors hang, and let things develop and flow. And then we got into this multi-camera shoots. You know, if you had an explosion or a car stunt or whatever, you couldn't have one camera because you're only doing that big stunt once. So you had multi-cameras everywhere. And they were like, well, let's just extend time and use all, you know, sometimes 10, I've been on shoots where 10 cameras.
Yeah, they shoot a lot of fight scenes with multiple cameras. And you have to understand that even like with like you have to talk about my influences, it is that theater element, but also I watched a lot of martial arts movies when I was growing up, you know, kung fu movies. That's all like wide shots and takes, as these actors can do it. Then as things got more advanced, you had like steady cam shots, and then you understood how certain punches work with like a certain lens and angle. I think got better and better. So those are my heavy influences with Hong Kong cinema, with Jackie Chan, you know, but even some of the action cinema of the 80s as well from America.
The Shaw brothers who made all those, you know.
Yeah, the Shaw brothers.
Kung Fu.
Yeah, exactly.
Kung Fu is very good. I have a crowbar. Movies so then fight scenes got chaotic, and they just kind of gives you a headache, and it's just a lot of awe, not a lot of tension. And then films like John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick.
Was it Highwire or Haywire?
Haywire was another good example. Atomic Blonde. Even some of the Tom Cruise ones, like Jack Reacher, were pretty good with that as well. Like the first Jack Reacher.
Okay, what about the Jason Bourne?
No, the Jason Bourne films were definitely over edited, you know, and definitely like shaky cam. And the thing was, the actors were very capable, so I'm not sure why they did that. Like they were capable. I saw behind the scenes; they definitely knew the moves. It's just, I think you don't have to do shaky cam or fast editing to create tension. You just have to just build what's happening in front of the camera and have the actors do something enough action for it to be tense. I think you don't want the audience thinking about anything other than just watching the fight. They don't want to be confused. They don't want to be. You know, and that's why you have to think about how each transition goes into the next. And that's how, you know, and you have more options with the Steadicam, which is like a great tool to have. And that's the thing. You have to, if I didn't have the Steadicam, I would have found another way to do it. But, you know, whatever tools you have, you can create a good fight. As long as you think about like it in like wide shots, you think about if you're dealing with like four combatants, you're thinking about where they are and what's happening, and always give them an action, always give them a reason to be somewhere or to be laid out or to be hurt or whatever. Having two shots is a great way of, transitioning to shots, and also like having a cool reveal, you know, like with the kip up, or like the reveal when he pulls back and the zombie like falls off the little, you know, thing. Yeah, like yeah.
It makes me think too of like the John Wick scene in the nightclub where he's going after the kid and who's in the pool, and he's going through a nightclub that is a little chaotic, but you get the transition of place to place, and when he turns a corner and who he takes out, and then he moves to the next. So it's not a maze, it's just he's going through a physical space, and you can kind of see the guy he wants in the distance, and then they start to figure out that he's there, and then he goes up to another floor, and then they come down and all that kind of stuff. And so what I kind of see that in the previs, where when you shoot the actual film, this scene, there'll be quite a few people in the audience watching, and like in the John Wick scene, is everything else in the periphery starts like once he passes, it's gone, and now he's over here. So here, okay, there's we know those chairs will be full of people behind him in that opening shot behind Andrew, but once they're fighting, it's them and the zombie. It's like watching any match. It's like watching a movie or watching any sporting event. The people around you start to become part of the background, and you're focused on what's happening there on the field. And it's the same thing here. You really get sucked into these guys.
Yeah. You have to, like, if you use the camera to guide them, to guide the audience through the space, then that's all they're paying attention to. Like they're following your rhythm, and your rhythm is your shots and your movements and your editing. So it's like kind of being caught into the music of orchestra or a concert or something. Like you don't realize you're around 10,000 people. You're just like focused on what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the only way we were able to pull this off in the way we did was because we had like stunt actors. Like we never had to like edit away from them because they're not they don't know how to fall properly, or they didn't know how to throw a kick or couldn't do a jump. So that's the only reason that we were able to do this, is to have like stunt actors. And you mentioned John Wick, and we talked about, and I mentioned Atomic Blonde, like they went through 4 months of training, so that, they can do wide shots. And Keanu Reeves has like years of experience with the Matrix movies, but Charlize was a ballerina, so she had the physical tools to be able to learn this choreography very quickly. So 4 months, and she could just do all her own stuff. She's not a stunt person. She's not gonna fall down the stairs, but she can do the fights. So this only works if you're willing to spend the time rehearsing, because rehearsing isn't just about getting the actual moves. It's also about, finding how you're going to shoot it, finding the rhythm, how it's all going to flow, finding out your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, you can't, you're not strong with this, so we'll just make an adjustment. Yeah. Or your style is more suited for boxing and not suited for jiu-jitsu. So maybe we'll go that route. Either take the time to train or use stunt people, and then you can pull off a great fight like this.
And I also believe in, there's a lot of times we talk with some people and they're like, I don't know how to choose, the right shots. And particularly on independent films or content creators, on YouTube like us, where, you only have so much time. You can't shoot tons of coverage. But what we think is important is we'll try a few different things, have options. So one is to, for us, it's having shots that are open-ended. So someone comes into the shot and you make sure they leave the shot. So the editor has choices, but also try different versions. If you're not sure if the slider is going to work, you have a camera and a slider, do a couple takes on the slider, do a couple handheld. If you're not sure of, in North by Northwest, when Cary Grant walks across the street, when he sees that guy who got dropped off and he thinks it's the person he's got to meet, Cary Grant is walking and the camera is tracking with him. And then it cuts to his POV and it cuts back to Cary Grant. And it works. Who knows? They may have shot other types of takes. They might have done an over the shoulder of Cary Grant coming in. Yeah. And not used it.
It depends on what the intention of the scene was. Yeah. So, and that's what, I guess that's the first starting point in trying to figure out the right shot is, what is the intention of the scene?
It's okay, to not be sure, because the edit is really where the magic happens. And you just have to make sure that the editor has everything he or she needs.
Yeah, just like I said, it took us like that one shot beginning. We rehearsed like 3-4 rehearsals in a row. I'm like, how do I get this shot? I don't understand how this is going to work.
And how many days of shooting was that?
We were able to rent a space for 4 hours on a Saturday. So we did 2 Saturdays. So it was like 8 hours total.
8 hours. Wow. Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And was that including the rehearsing?
No, the rehearsing was anywhere between like an hour to 2 hours of 4 different rehearsals.
So how many hours total of rehearsing?
Somewhere between like 6 and 7.
7. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, only because these guys already knew how to like fall, how to take hits. They knew exactly what they were doing. Like if it was like an actor from scratch, I'm like, all right, it's just gonna take like months to rehearse. Yeah.
I want to thank Marco for hanging out with us and talking about zombie parkour. The Kickstarter, actually, we call it kickstarting. The Indiegogo is happening now. If you're watching this video many months or even longer from now, the Indiegogo is over. But they're either in production or not. So still go to the Indiegogo page or go to their site. We'll have a link in the description so you can kind of see where progress is and what's going on, because you're going to keep people abreast of.
Yeah, totally. There's gonna be all kinds of content on the website. It'll like stuff about the story. We'll give updates on cool things that have happened, like and such.
Okay. Yeah, because zombies and parkour. It sounds like a winning formula to me. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out pullmyfocus.tv for the companion articles that tie into our videos. And of course, check out the many other videos that we have created and will be creating for you. You scrubbed it with Brillo?
What? I'm doing a good thing for you, bro.
All right, let's cut.